Hello, and welcome back. Northstar here with another episode of my Alpha Centauri Let's Play. Hope you folks are well. I guess I don't greet you every episode because sometimes the episode gets cut in two because it's too long. Apologize for that. I have so little energy and trouble remembering stuff. Sometimes, if I'm on a roll, I just want to keep going because I may not have the energy to do more videos later, and also I forget to cut the video partway through. I lose track of time with my long COVID. So I did off camera at least set landmarks, figure out a little bit more where I'll do new bases. You notice this is in the water because it probably raises tile. That allowed me to put a land base in range of this nutrient resource, which is still on ocean shelf, so I could eventually get a sea former out there. And I would have to otherwise do 2 more terrain raises to get to it, so I might not try and extend the land all the way out there, at least not for a while. Might come right from the sun. I'm not sure if you can raise land directly under base, so I suppose I could do it from here instead. Anyhow, I should be mostly closing the mouth of this bay and filling a lot of the tiles, and might be a narrow strip of water that runs in here. Just as here, I'll be probably raising both these tiles to get this and this both above water for boreholes. Because mineral resources aren't mineral limited, so you can have a borehole with 8 mineral production before you get ecological engineering. Similarly, energy resources, energy limitations, 8 energy. Names, as always, mean something. Naval refuge. I mean, this is probably going to be the furthest point out I extend this peninsula, at least for quite a while. So, Ocean Institute is somewhat surrounded by water. Maritime Command and Defense Command will only have a little, actually. Just this, actually, this tile, probably. So here, and through this way. This provides an outlet out. I see no easy way to fill in this particular tile right here without messing up rivers and such. Maybe if I raise this tile after it's above water, the river will have to go out somewhere. Might be that I do that. We'll see. Anyways, this will allow naval units to be produced at these 2 bases, and they can still go out through this narrow neck of land units can go here, but water units can go here. Planning agency, where I'll be raising terrain from here, so I can get the nutrient resource above water, and that'll also create a little narrow neck here. I'll probably raise this tile because it'll bring 4 tiles above water. If I raise from here, well, actually this already be raised to 3. Could do it here instead. Have to think about it a tiny bit based on like where I might want to do boreholes and such. I'm going to strongly be raising this tile, so I can do a borehole here in this tile to bring the unipod above water, which will also mean the river goes quite a bit further out. Diplomatic Corps, of course, will be landlocked by that, but this is the name, so always means something, or remind me of something. So Diplomatic Corps pushes the borders, but it also reminds me diplomacy can be very aggressive. It doesn't always have to be pacifist stuff. In fact, it can be like an extension of politics, which can be war without bloodshed. I will be probably bullying Morgan for some energy credits soon. In reflection, I should not have asked for his council votes. He went from Magnanimous to ambivalent. I went back and checked the video when I asked for his council votes, so not smart. And I gave him 3 texts I could have sold him. If he was Magnanimous, I might have been able to bully him for some energy. I may still end up doing it, but he might just cancel the pat. He is running Police State, which is actually quite good for the Morganites because they're very small bases. Free market might give you up to 4 energy base with Morgan. Police State will give you extra police and I think 2 minerals base, which is more valuable actually. Yeah, until they start suffering bureaucracy drones, people may think capitalism goes along democracy. Nope, that's just people LARPing their presuppositions about the world we live in today on Earth, which is not really accurate. There have been many hyper-capitalist dictatorships, often in the third world, often put in power by like the CIA and stuff. Chile's fascist regime under Augusto Pinochet comes to mind in particular. Fascist states are almost always hyper-capitalist. The Nazis are what give us the term privatization, for instance. It's an outright freaking lie that the Nazis were socialists. They were not. Hitler was a liar, an inveterate liar. Everything he did almost was a lie. He lied so much, partly to confuse people, but whenever it was convenient, for sure. And calling his party something that would confuse people and get some German working class people who had zero political theory or consciousness to think that what he was offering was just a more nationalistic version of socialism. But it was an utter lie. There's nothing socialist about his ideology. It was, in fact, privatizing state assets and empowering business owners, when socialism is about not the distribution of resources, as one quote where he tries to... There's actually a quote where he tries to offend that assassination of his party name. It's bullshit. Like he was interviewing with a reporter when he said that it's bullshit. He starts talking about distribution of wealth. That's not what socialism is. That might be social democracy. Socialism is about control of the means of production. It's about control of the economy and putting control of the economy in the hands of workers rather than business owners, which will naturally lead to more equitable distribution of wealth, but it's not redistribution. Social democrats love to redistribute wealth, but they keep capitalists in charge of businesses. That's not socialism. In fact, socialists tell you it's not sustainable in the long run because there will still be powerful business owners and they'll claw back what was taken from them over time. They'll find sneaky or not so sneaky ways to do it. They'll undermine social democracy and destroy it, which is what's happening, for instance, in Sweden today. On my mind, partly Nazis, Hearts Iron. I'm actually going to eventually do a Japan Let's Play Hearts Iron 4, which they're not aligned path allies with Nazis for a while, but then I'm planning on turning on them because I will never, playing the bad guy obviously, but I will never let the Nazis win that game. They're evil fucks, and although you get some pricks who seem to have gotten the message that they lost and just won't give up on it. It's not like, say, socialism, which in its very theory assumes that it will suffer and lose and get crushed over and over again. In fact, Marx studied the collapse of the Paris Commune and how it was crushed by actually the French bourgeoisie calling in the aid of the Germans to crush a revolution within their own country, who they'd literally just been fighting. In fact, the reason the Paris Commune was able to form was because the Germans had been invading France. But then they both joined forces to crush the communists when they took over Paris because class solidarity between the ruling elites always takes precedence over any nationalistic crap. Which is part of why, say, Britain, which had very different interests in Germany, actually made all this appeasement crap to the Nazis before World War II. People act like it was just to buy peace. It was stupid. No, nothing a large state does almost ever is clueless. There's always a reason for it. Some segment of the ruling elite that benefits from it, or theory they have, they think they'll benefit. And the theory the British ruling class had was if they fed the Nazis bits of Europe and appeased them, then the Nazis would go after the Soviets and weaken the primary threat to the bourgeois class, which is the Soviet Union. And indeed, they did go after the Soviets, though not before going after Poland, which is where Britain drew the line, partly because that policy had started to lose popularity. A different segment of the bourgeoisie within Britain, pioneered by Churchill, who actually leaned fascist himself, and like most fascists, very militaristic. He, in his diaries and memos, says some stuff about Aryan spirit. He was literally a Nazi sympathizer, Churchill, and he even talks about how if the UK ever lost a war, he would hope they would have someone like Hitler to bring him back. In his public quote, he said that he's an evil prick who gassed villages after World War One. Talked about gassing other villages earlier in his career, like he wanted to gas some villages in Pakistan and Iraq also. Was instrumental in the ideas that eventually led to British setting up concentration camps in East Africa and South Africa. Churchill was a piece of shit who's lionized so that people don't have to heroize FDR, who was more left-wing, and they need a hero for World War II, the West, who's not Stalin and not FDR, so they picked Churchill. Because God forbid we lionize a progressive like FDR or a socialist. It has to be the most right-wing prick who is a Nazi sympathizer who will end up fighting Nazis because of national interests. But yeah, different segment of the British ruling class, led by Churchill instead of Neville Chamberlain. Policy changed, but appeasement was a policy that a certain segment of the ruling class thought would benefit them. That's why they did it. And there was some cynical stuff like if the Germans become more of a threat, you can spend more on the military-industrial complex in Britain and enrich the weapons manufacturers, ironically. And I mean, Britain did end up having to spend massively on weaponry, so that worked because they ended up fighting for their lives against Nazis. Yeah. Politics. Well, my probe teams keep getting caught. Let's see if I can't sneak around down the coast and reach Bunker 118. Since it doesn't have anything but a scout patrol right now, looks like. Got a patrol here. Doesn't look like there's units around parade ground to... They're running a mineral shortage? How? Oh, because they end up having... Why do they only have one worker instead of 3 at base? Oh, because they're running 2 specialists and that draws out the worker population. How'd they end up over extend like that? Maybe they lost base? I don't know. I'm trading with the parade ground, actually, interestingly. Anyways, let's see. The river runs here. I could actually get to parade ground. Stay away from a patrol over here a little bit. Maybe. No, if they want to chase me, it might not be. Nah. So I'll probably infiltrate parade ground with that, but Mindworm could always slither out there. Keep my distance from the fungus. This worm that's where I last spotted it, but it's not there anymore, just like that scout patrol's moved on for sure. So there's a mindworm somewhere in the fungus, just waiting to attack me. Oh yeah, but I did want to mention, and digging all this, like placing all this, raising all this terrain out of the seabed, presumably with materials dug up from the thermal boreholes, from just needing somewhere to put all the stuff, the slag and stuff, and also from lowering terrain to make room for boreholes here and eventually here. I think it was going to lower the terrain. Right. Yeah, it did make me think anyways of one thing that the game gets right about capitalist versus socialist economies, and that is the player, if they really understand the economic models and what's best play style, is driven towards is driven towards the transformation of nature and planned more than free market, because free market gets this lovely +2 economy, +1 energy at tile that encourages you to have lots of pops to go wide. So lots of bases so you can grow population faster, especially because you can't really pop boom with free market unless you invest heavily in psych and do gold mages, and that's only nailing crossfire. You can't do it all. In this here game, you can, because even if you have a Chone's Crash and a base and you're running democracy, the gold mage won't give you pop booming. So so to get decent pop growth, you gotta go wide, lots and lots of bases. Whereas planned, which tends to go taller, the reason being they get a little bit less production per pop, but they are able to make more use of each unit of minerals and energy, because the industry bonus means that everything is a little bit cheaper to buy or build. So what they do produce goes further. It encourages building your bases taller. Facilities are also cheaper. So especially like mineral amplifying facilities, but anything really. Except, I guess, energy, well, not energy stuff, but mineral amplifying facilities and stuff that allows you to run more pops to synergize with nutrients you're producing. So psych, like, well, like stuff like rec commons, but anyways, but the thing that you're really incentivized to do is to do stuff like thermal boreholes to get very high per pop productivity by undertaking ambitious terraforming projects, because boreholes have some of the highest per pop yields in the game. So under planned economy, you're getting more value out of them than under free market. 6 minerals and 7 energy is not that much better than 6 minerals and 6 energy, especially when uh, even if you're not running wealth, which if you're running wealth, you'll have an even bigger industry bonus, but a minimum for any faction, the base game and the expansion. I think there's the coal planet has an industry debuff, so there's an exemption to this. But for any faction in the base game and almost any in the expansion, um, you are getting at least 1/9 extra industry from running planned. So 6 minerals, 6 energy will go 1/9 further. Minerals are definitely worth more than energy credits for building stuff. So you're already talking something that's more in the equivalent of having extra energy credit from a borehole. Borehole pops absolutely are more productive under plan than free market in that the slightly lower yields you're getting are worth more to you. So you're encouraged to do things like to dredge up land out of the sea so you can build more boreholes, which is not nearly as worthwhile in free market, where once you lift the energy restrictions, you can just do kelp farms and tidal harnesses and have, I think, let's see. I'm going to say the wrong. 3 energy. That's right. So you can have 3 nutrient, 4 energy tiles in the ocean, and that's like not terrible yields. Versus the much more marginal 3 nutrient, 3 energy for planned, where you're going to have lower efficiency, so less than energy you're going to keep. And if you're not the peacekeepers, it costs effectively 2 energy per pop without multipliers. You need 2 sig per pop just to support. Of course, some facilities do it cheaper but require a large upfront investment. And you can get site multipliers. And the peacekeepers, it's only 1.5 energy per pop because of the free talents. And they don't have to sometimes overspend on site as much to be able to run golden ages either. When they need those. So anyways, so if you're only getting 3 energy and maybe a third is going to inefficiency, you're just barely pulling ahead. You're like your surplus of over what the pot produces is 1 nutrient. So you can see the margins are much thinner on sea tiles for planned, and so you want to dredge the tiles up and do thermal boreholes, whereas free market, you can just leave the terrain alone a lot more. And this is part of why you get people saying, oh, raising terrain is bad. It's not meta. It's too many form returns. It's because these assholes always run free market and they never learn to use planned effectively. And free market, if you're going to go that and then green the whole game, you probably don't want to dredge it up. But planned, yes. Another thing is these kind of massive transformation of nature projects, which are historically accurate. Sometimes they went very well. Soviets were famous for them, and sometimes they went very poorly, like the Aral Sea project, although the massive environmental devastation that created didn't actually occur, most of it during the Soviet era, partly because the project was better managed, and what led to the Aral Sea drying up was overdrawing on the irrigation systems the Soviets constructed. And the systems were overdrawn on, and then they were overpolluted with pesticides, which the Soviets, and synthetic fertilizers, which the Soviets didn't use nearly as much of in their agriculture in the capitalist era after the fall of the Soviet Union, because capitalism is worse for the environment. For a given style of production, it's going to be done more environmentally damaging. Capitalist countries may not take on some of these mega projects that can have huge environmental consequences in the first place, but if they take over them, so if you do planned and you dig all these thermal boreholes because you need them under planned, and then you switch to free market, suddenly the thermal boreholes are just going to be destroying the environment. You're going to have massive eco damage if you're already running a little bit of eco damage risk, which can seriously impair a switch from long-term having been planned to free market. You can go green, of course, and bring down the eco damage from all these boreholes. Presumably, you don't want to completely avoid eco damage. You might want to, like, a small risk at your bases, because if you have like a tiny risk at a number of bases, it's not going to happen very often. You get a fungal pop once in a while you have one. It's nothing to worry about. You just have some rovers that can respond. You only need to wipe out one mine worm in a stack when they first spawn from a fungal pop, and it destroys all the others, and you get the energy from them all. So you just need a few rovers around, which just make your police units. That reminds me, I can do police units. Something like this. Not the cheapest. Three times the cost of a scout patrol, but presumably you're paying support, and so, police units not fighting most time after, I don't know, 27 turns. This is 54, and this is, or rather, that's, let's say with, well, yeah. If you, that's 54 and 18 less, which would be 36 for this. So it's like 50% more expensive after 27 turns, for instance. So it's a bit more expensive, but then these units have the mobility that they can go and hit the fungal pops, not have a rush penalty. Yeah, so you can make your police units, and actually you can give them armor. It won't up the costs. So you'd actually probably do this. You could alternatively do this. Police recon rover armor or lasers. Doesn't really matter against the mine worms, but could matter a tiny bit if police units end up having to go into combat. Personally, I prefer the lasers, but if you're dealing with, like, well, if you're suffering air units, synth metal's so outclassed. So yeah, something like this could be done. I'm not going to be building those right now. However, particle impactors, yeah, impact rover. I completely bypassed the impact rovers. Do I check? Okay, 36, 27. All right. Could give it all the way up to plasma steel if I wanted. Interesting. Impact skim ships. Same cost as missile skim ships. More balanced. Probably wouldn't build these, but there may be a niche or two for impact weaponry that I haven't looked at instead of going straight to missile stuff. Trained scout infantry costs the same as untrained? Ooh. Trance. I could do a number of special abilities. Let's... I could do a high morale and then swap them for trance. That would allow me to potentially train, get commando level scout infantry very easily with the monoliths, who then become trance infantry. Reasonably cost effective. defense and spine worms in some areas. More usefully, I could train scout infantry and then upgrade them into something like, that'd be 50. 70 for what would normally be one more row. Okay, yeah, that's not cost effective at all. Oh, maybe high morale. Nope. Nope. There's gotta be some niche for impact weaponry somewhere. Sooner or later, I'll figure it out. Eventually. I'll save her. Eventually. Oh, here's something I should do. Alright. Sea formers. Fungicidal sea formers. It's quite a bit of fungus to dig out at sea. Probably. Wow. 5 rows. 50 energy to make the upgrade for what's essentially. Row that might cost. $40 at most. If I just produce it, rush it straight out. Yeah, there are times, I suppose, where it could be valuable to have both. Alright, well, I will save fungicidal sea former. I suppose it's no. Like, it's not. Cost affected armor. I mean, could armor the sea formers normally. I suppose I have no reason to ever do normal scout patrols anymore when I can create trained ones. Same cost, and removing special abilities should not add to upgrade costs normally in most situations. Swapping it for a different ability, rather. So, scout patrols are obsolete now. They don't take a slot. Interesting. Train and trance. Scout infantry. I've removed the non-trained from the possible build list. Keeps things a little less cluttered. There's no way I would ever build anywhere anymore. Existing scout infantry could upgrade the trans ones very cheaply and realize that it's basically only 10 energy for the upgrade. See if I can find one that's currently not moved. Ah, there we go. Trans scout infantry costs 10. Yep. They won't gain a morale upgrade from being upgraded to trains, so not useful for that, but yeah, I can get hardened infantry with a monolith very easily. Or scout infantry, I should say. Non-lethal methods. I mean, sorry, secrets of human brain and intellectual integrity. Help so either scout. Yes, that's good to know. Got this colony pod done. This one will be Russian next turn. I guess Refugee Relief Agency. It's the highest priority of current places for bases. Because it can use those nutrient resources. Yeah, I generally don't want to go around upgrading infantry when I could spend that energy better elsewhere. Here and there could be a niche. These guys have all moved. Planetary Trust, I generally keep a unit on because of the... No, that's dumb. Right, this recon rover. It's probably going there to hunt where it makes sense. Guess a large base that doesn't have rec commons could use a police unit. Give me a sec. Okay, yeah, took me a sec. What I probably want to do, I do actually. Wrong screen. Is Yep, didn't think I could upgrade him with anything. police scout infantry, or police infantry. So I'm going to turn the scout patrol and the police over at World Food Program, because that'll eliminate the drones, and then by working one doctor, I can get this base into a golden age. Combined with democracy, I should be able to reduce the nutrients to grow by 8 if I time it correctly. So instead of 8 times 6, 40, it'll go down to 40. So I probably pull the pop just doing nutrients. Gain 5 nutrients for the cost of upgrading 1 scout patrol to police, which is 10 energy. Definitely a good trade-off. I will have to get it over soon. Let's see, it's already got 25 base. If I upgrade now, a unit soaks its movement. It has to spend 2 turns. Interesting. Instead of this, boom, 2 extra minerals. No, I was gonna go down to 35, wasn't I? With just gonna build that colony pod. Need to run a doctor at some point. Let's switch this then. Alright, so run a technician for now, because econ. Actually, I want this scout patrol to go to upgrade next turn, and then go into the base turn after that. Upgrade when it's at 30. Base 5, yeah, that should work. The other one's too far away. Archive this one. Yep. Accelerate the mine worn mounts. Scout patrol there. Take over this one. Boom. Can actually hunt this tile for xenofungus a little on the way to World Food Program. But, yeah, selective use of Golden Age. That Shoot. A lot of the bases.
Request confirmation.
Did I partial hurried it? Is this turn? Ooh, that's gonna be a problem with if it was this turn I super rushed stuff. Would have been last there, but looks like a planetary trust. I just did it. Is that right? Hmm. Alright, well, some mistakes may have been made. I think I forgot I was making the transition to democracy this turn.
Request confirmation.
Yep. Support costs are going to be a problem. Unless I do World Food Program here, which I can already hurry. Don't need more minerals. In theory, but I'll actually need it for the. Cool. Wait, that only took a third of a movement? Was there? Oh, there was a road there. I can actually rebase that rover. Promise democracy reduces 0. Oh, shoot. I know I fixed this. If I didn't save over both. Saved over that. This actually needs to rebase at one of these bases. Mound command or defense? Probably defense command, because mound command is so anemic on minerals. Doesn't matter that much. But yeah, I don't want maybe some changing of tile assignments. I want to be locked into having to maximize minerals there. Change the support. That will allow... Wait, what? Shoot, I didn't check if they're actually in their support from the base they were in. God. Nope, it's Forest Agency. Not useful. Right, do this, especially because I don't remember if the scout designs were... Righty then. So, boom. That's the way I can support that colony pod, and this one ready to rush next turn. Sorry about all the micro and mistakes, but I got it figured out.
Request confirmation.
Rushing this pod. Food program. Shoot, if I do democracy, I'll be +1. Problem is I'm going to lose at least 2 mineral. Oh. That's going to be a problem. Still going to be a problem. That won't work either. The issue is very much the lose of mineral production when the colony pod completes. So in addition to get to 12, I only need 15. think I would have to disband this rover. This should. Yep. Here's the hurry
Request
cost
confirmation.
by 29 energy. Which, the recon rovers are 2 rows, so it costs like 54 to replace it most. But yeah, this will redirect resources to colony pods, which are more cost effective. Hmm. Anyways, let's actually little diplomacy. I should mention part of the reason spending so many energy credits is I'm trying to get below Morgan's value because he likes you less. You have more energy in him. Then maybe he's a little more susceptible to being bullied out of some of what he's got if he has more than me. And then if he cancels the pack, that'll at least mean when I contact Miriam, she'll be less annoyed. And Miriam will be annoyed when I swap to democracy here. Right.
Request confirmation.
All but 1 mineral. So they have the 10 overflow. Full amount. Go into the plasma sentinels there. So I'm looking for things to rush.
Request confirmation.
Need to get below Morgan's energy totals.
Request confirmation. Request confirmation. Request confirmation.
Sometimes you can take a second one from AI you already took one from. Sometimes. Let's see. What the council was going to do. Resettlement agency.
Request confirmation.
After that, I guess I'll just settle former. Did they make a design that had plasma steel? Probably for an escort, I see. Rename this armored fungicell C-formers to make it clear. So formers cost 18. Fungicell 27. So yeah, it's 30 to upgrade. Something more expensive, produce them outright. Only slightly. I'm actually starting to hit a crunch of resources, surprisingly. Alright, let's see. Civil Rights Agency is going to be doing probably some condensers before I work my way over. Well, here I might just raise the train soon. Here, 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 and here. Doesn't look like there's much fungus I have to clear for it. So that changes to normal former to save a little on the rush
Request
cost.
confirmation.
Because I'm actually running a little tight. Could have done the same at UN headquarters, couldn't I? Some way of monitoring agency. Pinch pennies a little.
Request confirmation.
Here I actually need the fungicide ones.
Request confirmation. Request confirmation.
3 energy in reserve. Alright. Morgan, you're my piggy bank. So meet again, Commissioner. I trust your humanitarian initiatives are proceeding to your satisfaction. Actually, they could use some more money. I'm, as always, C.M. Morgan, the Morganites. No, I'm not turning the believers. It's opposite now. He doesn't like my planned economy. Your planned economy is wrong-headed and inefficient and definitely just and proper flow of capital on this planet. To the very rich, you mean? Tolerate my alliance with Merriamall. 'Do I have any text you might want? I don't think he's even going to make me a loan at this opinion level. I'll start by selling one if he'll do. No, he might do the loan repayments, loans first. 25 energy. That's it. Now some secrets of the human brain. It did improve his opinion. Not only our mathematics. What? Well, pretty sure if I threaten him, he'll just say no, unfortunately. Pretty sure. Not entirely, though. Gaians are ignoring comms. Morgan, having gotten those texts to me, will swap to something else maybe I don't have. Well, I'm going to pat to them. There's more chance to gain tech trades, especially because he doesn't like me. Miriam wants me to attack the Morganites. Saw her in only her mathematics too. Or you name your price. Wait, she's not interested not only in mathematics, but that's for conquest. Okay. Grr. Even when I was flat broke, Morgan wasn't offering me much for my techs and wouldn't give me a loan, and if I threaten him, it's probably the end of the pact. May have overspent a little here.
Request confirmation.
I should have done is swapped some of those fungicide formers to normal. Just gonna have to do that. That was, I mean, not efficient spending in any sense of the word. Oh, I certainly do want to expand this then.
Request confirmation.
I have to pinch every penny. Make this work. Pinch every penny. Count every cent, and you'll still have to choose between healthcare and rent. That's from, there's a Simpsons episode, Goodbye Middle, and there's like this musical thing, Goodbye Middle Class. This episode where Robert Reich and actually did part of it, and this famous musical singer. It was a good episode. I recommend it. Let's see. Alluvial counts in particular be doing improvements where there's no fungus, so I do not need fungicidal formers next. Here I need them. Don't really need them here immediately. This was definitely one of the places I wanted to not UN headquarters.
Request confirmation.
Would like to maximize overflow at least, though.
Request confirmation.
I didn't. Would have warned me about a retooling penalty. And 19 would be 10 minerals complete. All right.
Request confirmation.
It's about buying overflow into military, so I shall wait till last for that. It's only marginally more expensive to upgrade the formers in the field, and it allows me to wait to do the upgrade until the units are all the way in position. If I wasn't running planned, it would actually cost exactly the same. So, I don't know, do formers next. I'm not going to have any overflow after this. I mean, anything I can do after this. Oh. With time, another former unit. Democracy reduces 2. And
Request confirmation.
last 2 there. I don't need to purchase them exactly. Pinch that penny. There's no real hurry on the plasma sentinels. World Health Organization. Protect cost 27.
Request confirmation. Request confirmation.
Should still try and fully hurry stuff because the overflow. The final minerals are the cheapest. Monitoring agency is probably gonna get a farm going in this rolling rainy tile because it's kind of short on minerals. It means there are nutrients. I can swap to working that. So that definitely doesn't require fungicidal formers.
Request confirmation.
Gradual work on an APC. Hurry on it, but eventually that's what I want.
Request confirmation.
Boom. The reason I partial hurry at world food is because they're going to stagnate for a long time. This APC can actually be done in reasonable time, although up armoring one of these costs 40 for a row that would have cost 30. Yeah. It's fine. It'll stay in the queue longer. That's probably a good idea.
Request confirmation. Request confirmation. Request confirmation.
Sick. Okay. Standard form is there. Civil rights. Well, there is some work to be done on condensers first. Standard formers.
Request confirmation.
Same with Defense Command. Pinching pennies.
Request confirmation. Request confirmation. Request confirmation.
So generally speaking, I'm not going to produce undecile formers in many places directly. Certainly not ones in the future. I'm going to be even tighter on money. Instead, I'm going to upgrade them when they're in position to be removing fungus, the formers.
Insufficient energy.
$28 by 11. It's not amazing prices, but I probably want the children's creche soon-ish. All right. That worked well enough. Time to contact Morgan again. We should give you a warning when they're running out of time. Not turning on the believers. Just complain about my planned economy. Proposal. Urgent need of energy. Need, but name your price. Transmit information on nonlinear mathematics. Wait, you didn't even improve opinions this time. What? makes him like you more if you... That's interesting. Alright, because if I just straight say valuable research data, you can go to ambivalent this time. What's different? Weird. Hmm. Alright, well. I don't know why this is happening differently than last time. Does he disrespect me because I have so little energy? Uh, Alright. Wait a second. I was trying to see if I lost integrity from that. I didn't think, yeah, Morgan would accept the threat. He won't, but, hmm. Alright. Well, I'll just, try the loan, I guess. I say no, but maybe this affects how it reacts. Maybe the counteroffer? I'm trying to replicate what happened before. Doesn't seem to really matter. Okay, well, I don't know why sometimes the AI went from opposite to ambivalent, sometimes it doesn't. I was trying to figure that out. It's a mystery to me. Maybe I contacted him before I spanned the road before. It's because I'm less mighty. I have no idea. Because I was all the way down to 3 energy before. Maybe that made him like me more. Too many unknowns. What is for certain is if I'm to keep up with my economic plans, I can't really afford to be prototyping military units right now. I basically need to focus on my economy. Wait, why did that? Oh, I have to hit OK. Replace it with formers. That worked. Cool. Didn't have much success doing it the other way around, but I did not expect to end up quite so broke. That's for certain. Um, 2. This dropped to 2 with the colony pod 1, and assuming this tile stops getting worked. I don't think if you produce a unit and you go into negative minerals right when you produce it, I don't think it disbands till the end of the turn. So I might be fine even here and be able to reassign pops to ensure that I lose either a 1 or 0 mineral tile, not one of the 2 minerals. I'm able to thus support the colony pod. We'll see what happens.
Request confirmation.
If I do this now, then Crash. Let's see, how much does a children's Crash cost? Forget.